Welcome back to the Making a Multi-Million-Dollar Medspa podcast, where we have real conversations about what it takes to run a successful business. Thank you for joining us as we share our day-to-day successes and, even more importantly, failures and mistakes. Listen in as we host some of our peers, colleagues, and other experts in the field. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. The podcast episode today is a previous episode of our AesthetiCare 411 e-course. In these videos, Matt is joined by practice manager Rick Dunn and marketing director Karen Cobb to review and discuss the month's outcomes. From promotional sales to new hires, they will discuss actual instances that have occurred within our clinic. We hope you get a lot from this episode and are able to adopt some of these items into your own practice. Today's episode covers August of 2022. Enjoy!
All right, hello all you e-course subscribers. I'm Matt, this is Rick, this is Karen. They're your A-team, I'm just fill-in, right? I just kind of do whatever
You're the A-team.
I just do what they tell me to do, and it works out well. So we are talking about August, okay? August, last month of summer, and traditionally, one of our slowest months of the year. We have found July traditionally is, and then August happens to be second. You know, end of summer, kids going back to school,
Right,
vacations.
lots happening.
This year, we had in Kansas City a little bit of a flourish of COVID. A lot of people calling in sick. Luckily, it wasn't severe COVID, but a lot of people down for 3, 4, 5 days, employees included. And then we just had a lot of staff vacations in August, didn't we?
We did. I mean, clients and staff members, I think, for the last couple of years have really refrained from going anywhere. So July, tons of vacations. I think a lot of them were exposed to not just COVID, but illnesses that they hadn't been exposed to.
Right.
So in August, there was an extraordinary number of people calling in last minute.
Clients
They had
calling in sick.
symptoms,
members,
and
yeah.
of course with COVID, it's just like, yeah, you stay away.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know,
It wasn't the great, but, you know, listen, our goal, as you know, is to grow by 10% every month or the same month of the previous year. Didn't hit in August, but we did grow. We grew by 4%. So in Leawood, last August, we did $727,000. This year, we did $757,000. So we're not disappointed with that. I mean, it's still an increase. Now, Liberty is a much younger clinic, just 2 years old. They grew by 43%. They went from $186,000 to $267,000. So
Awesome.
When you're new and young, it's easier to grow by
Right.
bigger percentages. But after 21 years, if we grew by 43%, we wouldn't have room for everybody. So,
oh yeah, no.
but lots of fun stuff to talk about in August. You know, one of the big things that really ramps up in August is planning and finalizing everything for our big event in September, which we'll be talking to you about next month. And so that takes a lot of time. And because of that, we don't do a lot of crazy specials in August, and we don't do much in September except the party, and we really don't do much in October, right? Because that is such a focus. And as you know, we've really gotten away from a lot of discounting anyway,
Right.
And doing more value-added stuff. You know, August, if you remember when we talked in June and July, we tried something different with a body program. You know, we've always done very well with the M-Sculpt Neo, and we do very well with tissue tightening. But I spoke to a good friend of mine, a doctor in St. Louis, Dr. Roger Moore, who was combining doing the Neo, and immediately after, following with tissue tightening, he uses the M-Tone and had great success. So we thought, you know, let's do a summer body program. And what we found is by combining them and making the price a little bit more attractive, we think, you know, a lot of the manufacturers like BTL, and they do a great job marketing, you know, they'll recommend you charge a certain price for a treatment, and what they recommend for Neo is $750 per treatment. And we always try to put ourselves in the shoe of the consumer. And to be honest, I just feel that's too much. It's just too high, don't you? It's just, for a 30-minute treatment, there's virtually no staff involvement other than adjusting.
Right.
It's hard to let that person know, hey, what you're getting is worth $750. So we made it a little more affordable by combining. When you did 4 Neo treatments or 6 M-Sculpt up in Liberty, you got 4 Indiba treatments included in that price, which really brought the price down.
Yeah.
And so they were saving about $1,600 over a series of 4. and it almost doubled the amount that we did.
Well, I also think giving it a new name, a tighten and tone, we've learned through Cool Sculpting and stuff, the number one area that people are unhappy with and want to treat is their abdomen. So kind of making it more understandable, like here's an all-in-one package thing that you can do if you don't like your abdomen, I think helped clarify, because we do a lot here and it can be overwhelming. Do I need tightening, fat reduction,
toning? Yes.
Toning? I don't know what I need. There's a lot happening. I think this just helped really clarify, and doing it the 3 months, June, July, August, bringing a bigger awareness. We do a lot for body, and focusing on that for all summer I think was helpful.
And maintenance in that area, you have to do more maintenance.
Totally. I mean
it's just
especially if you're doing a muscle, because if you don't, it just goes back to what it was.
And we don't have a nutritionalist here. If we had that, they could work well hand in hand with that. But since we don't, it's really up to the client to have
Stay
good
on
eating
it.
habits and make good choices. So the maintenance for that, I think, also is something that we really looked at and said, is this realistic for those who get good results but need maintenance?
Totally.
Yeah, so we liked it. In fact, the pricing turned out so good, we visited with all the providers that we're going to keep this pricing as our regular pricing. We just think it's more fair, more people are doing it. Still nice and profitable. For the Neo, we get charged, I think, $50 per treatment is the cost of the paddle. And so when you're at $500 and it's $50 per treatment, gross profit of $450, not a lot of labor, still very, very attractive for us. So we've done that. That was fun. We did something with Cool Sculpting, and we met with Cool Sculpting, the marketing, and we talked about doing a kind of a promotion. And did we do it just in August, or was that the summer?
We did it just in August.
Just in August. And it would save $700 when you buy 8 Cool Sculpting treatments, save $300 when you buy 4. And I tell you, Liberty did $13,000 in the month of August. Leawood did $22,000.
Yep.
So it was a good month for both places. I mean, combined, you're looking at about $35,000 of Cool Sculpting, and so that's something that we look at, and we really talk. Use your reps. Use your. I know Allergan calls them. They call them a rep. Who's the person that assists you?
Oh, they don't call them?
No, the rep is the person who sells it. But I can't remember the name, but it's the person who's supposed to help you. Make sure you talk to them. They should be finding out what has worked in other parts of the country, right? And what promotion. We just had a recent meeting, and they talked about a promotion that we may try. Remember, where you go after people who have done treatments, but they never came back for their second series, and all kinds of stuff.
Well, and also communicating with your providers, because we did, all summer we're promoting body stuff, and a lot of people understanding, well, step 1 should be to debulk the fat, and then step 2 might be M-Sculpt or Tighten and Tone. So kind of squeaking this in right towards the end, you were thinking about Cool Sculpting because you got him for a consult.
Now's a good time to buy it. And it really goes to communicating with your clients, People on a whole, in general in life, like to try new things, and having a new name, Tighten and Tone, a combination package. It's like we talk about skincare products. When you see you have a product sitting on the shelf that you're only selling 1 or 2 of, there really is no reason that you have that product. And people, I have, when I do consulting, they'll say, well, I can't get rid of this product because I've been telling people it's the best. Well, you don't have the same cell phone you had 5 years ago. Technology changes, science changes, and so it may have been the best. And it doesn't mean it's bad now, but maybe there's something better and it's new. Okay, so now this turned out really good, and Rick, I'm going to have you talk about this. Again, working with your reps, we did a flash sale on neurotoxins and fillers, and we really did it how we worked with the reps to get coupons.
Yep. We had a lot of times the different companies will have, if you purchase a certain amount of something, you can get codes that you can either use or pass on to your client. A lot of times we use those codes just to increase our profit, but in this instance, we had a couple it was a little bit slower. We had some injectors with openings, and so we decided to pass that code along to the client. And it really, really filled up. And, our struggle with that is, if we push that out there, they call to get in, are we still going to have that code available when they come in for their appointment? So Karen, being the brilliant one that she is, came up with the idea that we just go ahead and redeem the code when they make the appointment. So we'll do the countdown, and when the codes are done, they're done. But it guaranteed that everybody who called for the promotion got the promotion. And when they were done, it was a flash sale, and it was done.
It was sold out, right? So
by the 22nd, I think, of the month.
We sold out early, and we asked our rep for extra codes too, because I'm like, we can sell this out. Give us a little extra. So we asked for 200 codes here in Leawood and 60 codes in Liberty, and made it so we could sell it online. And if you have an e-commerce store, you can set parameters. So I said that we only had this many codes. So if it did sell out online before I could communicate to anyone, we wouldn't oversell the code. So it made it streamlined the process for us, because as a bigger practice, it's hard to know, okay, did that nurse do that one, or does, she use those codes, and now we've got somebody on the books in 2 weeks and we're out. Like Rick was saying, it can get kind of complicated. So trying it this new way really worked.
And what happened was, we did it as a Allergan promotion, but Galderma had the same dollar value of codes available if I ordered a certain way. So I went ahead and did that. So when the clients came in, if you're used to using Galderma instead of Allergan, we can still basically run the same promotion for you. So it worked for everybody.
Yeah.
Nobody lost. Everyone won.
Yeah.
And, it never hurts to ask somebody if, do you have any codes or...
Any ideas? Yeah, to help. I mean... Nobody says yes to a question you don't answer, or you don't ask, right?
And a lot of the things that we do now, we just sat and kind of brainstormed with the reps and came up with ways that it works for everybody. Because they want it to work for them, they want it to work for us, and vice versa. So we just came up with ways of accomplishing it that it doesn't cost the clinic anything.
No.
Which is wonderful.
And if you look at the numbers, just in Leawood on that promotion, $345,000, and that's crazy. That's a crazy way to just jumpstart. And it was a great time, like you said. We were a little bit slower than normal in August. We have 2 new injectors who had room on their schedule. A lot of our long-term injectors, they're so booked up. And, just worked out. We were really happy with that.
Yeah, it was a good one.
Now, something we're starting to do on a regular basis is, again, working with the reps, right? And our skincare reps, we like to do... per line a pop-up, and we like to do it, what do we do this, once every month or two?
I've just been kind of going down the line and doing a new skincare line that we haven't featured yet, and get with them and just say, what are you able to offer us to help make this a success? And it kind of depends on the line. Some we carry more SKUs than others. Some we can sell online, some we can't. So just kind of finding what sale makes the most sense and see how they can help us accommodate a sale.
Yeah. And so we do these little one-day pop-ups, and actually it's a half-day pop-up, half-day here, half-day at our location in Liberty, and the rep does the work. She stands there and she talks to the clients. But in that, with Elastin, and we love Elastin, it's a great line. It's a very high-end line, very expensive. But in one day, we did over $6,000 of revenue just in Elastin.
Which is,
with that pop-up. And just, it gives these reps, a lot of your providers, they're busy, they don't have the time really to go into the detail about the science behind a line. And the rep just sits there and the provider can hand them off, talked about the science, and it really works.
So a lot of times a rep will come in and, it's part of their job to make sure that everyone's trained. They want to get in front of the staff so they can train them on their products to hopefully prove to them that theirs is the best and you should sell mine. So a lot of times what Karen and I do in conjunction, but if you do marketing and manage the practice together, it's real easy for you. When somebody approaches us about that, we either schedule them during a staff meeting for like half the staff meeting to go over any new products and to do a training, or we say, if you would like to bring treats in or provide lunch, come in during a 2-hour window from 11 to 1 and sit back in the nurse's station, so when people have breaks or if they want to block themselves off for 20 minutes to visit with them, if they have questions, they sit back there, and then we go ahead and schedule the pop-up really almost immediately after
So
that,
it's
while
fresh.
everybody's really pumped about it, all the knowledge is fresh, and then that really kind of solidifies their time and energy that they put into your clinic, and there's a dollar reward for both.
Yeah, and it only helps the rep long term too to build relationships with the staff and our clientele, get everyone jazzed about their product line. So it's a feel good event on all accounts.
Helps everybody. We always love new technology, and whether we're vetting a piece of technology or we add one, Karen does a great job of communicating that to our clients via Instagram, via Facebook, might be the e-blast. You want to let your clients know you are actively staying on top of this industry, right? And
At Aesthetics, we understand that your schedule can be demanding. That's why our e-course training programs provide you with the flexibility to learn at your own pace, wherever and whenever you want. Whether you're at home on the couch, out of the country, or in between client treatments, Mint Aesthetics makes it convenient for you to expand your aesthetic skills. Take advantage of the opportunity to advance your career through treatment technique, improved results, clinic operations, and more. Visit our website at mintaesthetics.com to explore our wide range of online e-courses.
Hey listeners, it's Karen, the marketing director of AesthetiCare Medspa here, and I wanted to share an incredible resource that has changed the marketing game for our virtual events here at AesthetiCare. Our events partner will provide all of the items that you need to put on a professional, organized virtual event with ease. You provide the assets, pictures of your staff, or whatever treatment that you're trying to promote only takes 90 minutes or so, and they do everything else. Following the event, they'll even provide you with detailed data analytics so you can see exactly how many people attended, who stayed for the entire event, track who's interested in getting your treatment or special that you're promoting. You will even have automated follow-up texts. I'm telling you, it will make your virtual events easy, breezy, and they do all of the marketing. It's incredible. For more information or to see a case study or two from AesthetiCare Medspa, check out the link in the notes below.
And you may have a demo of something you never buy. That's okay. Let your clients know you're demoing it.
Yep.
We had 2 demos recently, and we did videos. I don't think of those we ever bought the device. But it lets your clients know that you're active in this industry, you're not stagnant. We did add the AgeJet. It's a plasma device, kind of a 3rd generation plasma device. I'd spoken to, I think we're the 8th clinic in the country to have it. And 2 of the clinics that did have it, I knew them, one in Ohio, one in Boise, Idaho. They were really raving about it to me, especially around the eyes. So we brought it in, we played with it, we liked it. The plasma pen, which we've had, which you put little dots on, not a bad device, but very tedious and, okay results, not overwhelming, but we had used that a little bit. Now we don't use the plasma pen at all because the AgeJet is more of a paintbrush technique and it lays down a much larger spot. Plasma leaves the epidermis intact, so you don't have to wear an occlusive dressing. Downtime's not that bad, but the nice thing is you can do right over the lids without internal interocular shield. You can get right up to the lash line, so we're really excited about what we can do with the eyes.
Right.
And so kind of a fun new thing. And again, I think we've done a good job in the last 21 years of letting people know you do not have to leave Kansas City. You don't have to go to New York. You don't have to go to LA. You don't have to go to Miami to get the latest, greatest stuff because we're going to research it all the time. And if it is truly good, we are going to get it. So that's been fun. So it's always fun to add new toys.
Also with vetting equipment, one, the front desk gets a lot of calls. Social media, they'll see things on social media and they'll get calls asking, do you have this device? Because, obviously their marketing is very good. It's always really good also to explain to the front desk maybe why you chose not to get something that you're considering because you don't want to really put it down. I think that looks unprofessional.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But you certainly can say, we tried that device and honestly the equipment and the procedures that we do here are just as good as, if not better, we feel. So it's always really good to loop the front desk into because that's who's going to receive the calls about that.
Right.
And just because you don't want them to say, no, we don't have that, I'm sorry, and let the call go, you want to have them know how to explain why we did try that, but we didn't choose to get that, and this is why. So hopefully you.
And especially if it's a device or that multiple or even one of your competition has and is marketing it.
Yep.
And so, if they have Laser XYZ and you get a call, hey, I just saw this ad or read this thing about Laser XYZ. Do you have it? It's nice to know, no, we don't have the device, but here's what we do have, and we feel what we have is the best in the market. So, we shot a video on kind of the plasma, kind of the Q&A.
I think when launching a device, that's like the best thing. You take the top questions that people are going to ask over and over and over again, and you just address them right away.
Mm-hmm. Does it hurt? What's downtown like? What results can I expect?
Totally.
A little bit about the science behind it. And, and whenever we put those out, boy, we get activity right away.
We do. Yeah. And I also like to refer back, this is a good example of one when we were vetting it months previously, I'd done a post on it, and then I referred to the post back vetting, like now we have it, kind of like a full circle.
Yeah, it works out well.
Story.
You do.
So, and this is something really interesting to talk about is your website. Your website is always a work in progress, and we recently, after a long-term time being with one website company, made a change, and we knew there was going to be some bumps in the road, and you might lose a little bit of organic SEO. Mm-hmm. And so, but we pay attention to that, and we like to be number one. We do, but still the three most popular searches in aesthetics are Botox, cool sculpting, and laser hair removal. Even though laser hair removal has been out forever, it's still very popular.
That's a tough one.
So, and laser hair removal is the toughest one because there's so many clinics that have laser hair removal.
In their name.
And some, that's right, in their name.
That's
laser
what
hair
makes
removal
it
center.
very tough to compete with.
But so we, for years, we've been number one in Botox, number one in cool sculpting, and trying to move up the road in laser hair removal. But we noticed we dropped a little bit, and so you got to hop on that, and have a call to action, have a plan.
So we created a Botox strategy and gathered the top questions that were being searched in this area, and we did a video series with our nurses. So we took all those questions and recorded our oldest nurse, well, not by age, but that has been here the longest, and our newest nurse, Judy and Blake, and had them each kind of tag team and do a different video series, and we uploaded those to YouTube, which would also help our ranking, and then wrote a long blog featuring each question with text and the embedded video to help get our ranking back up.
So that's something you just always want to stay on top of because everybody else is trying to do it too, right? All your competitors are trying to be number one, and you might be number one, and then a few months later, it's like, wait a second, two were in front of me. That means they did something.
Right.
They made some sort of effort, some sort of change, and now Google is like, wait, I like their site better than yours, and then you have to counter. So it's kind of a game. We love to be active in the community, and we work with tons of charities, and we work with women's groups and businesses. Every August, we are the sponsor of a very large member guest golf tournament at a country club called Blue Hills Country Club in Kansas City, and they have a very big event on Friday. It's a ladies' martini lunch and a little bazaar, shopping and stuff, and we're one of the sponsors there.
Yep.
And it was kind of fun this year, so we had 5 of our employees there, Kathy, my wife, and 4 of our employees. And we have some products there. We do some door prizes, that people love. And then we did a live demonstration. Somebody got picked out of they were eating there, and one of our nurses was there to do a live demo of Botox. And even though one thing I really encourage you to always keep in mind, if you've been in this business for any length of time, Botox does not fascinate you anymore, right? You hear it every day. It's been a part of my life for 25 years. I don't think, oh my gosh, Botox. It's just what we do, right? Mm-hmm. But the vast majority of people, that's not true, and we have to always keep in mind, Judy, our long-term injector, who's been injecting for 27 or 28 years now, she has to make it special for the person who's about to spend $400, even though it's really nothing fascinating to Judy. She's done thousands of them. But when we go to events and we talk about Botox, you can't assume everybody knows about Botox. In fact, most of the time when I give talks in our client parties, and I have 10, 12 women here, one of the first questions I ask is, hey, who here can tell me the difference between Botox and a dermal filler? Do you know almost nobody can?
Right.
So we think everybody does, but it's not true. So doing these live demonstrations, I bet you 70% of the women, and this is a fairly expensive country club, had never had Botox before. And watching it and seeing, God, it didn't hurt. Right. Nobody died. It was good. So, yeah, that's right. Get all over that. Now, we do some influencer work, and I always like to tell people most influencers don't influence anything, and you got to be very careful. Karen's great at vetting and finding ones that actually do. So, talk about our Moxie.
Yeah, these are actually 2 blog ideas for you that actually I didn't work with this influencer. She posted it all on her own. Didn't ask for anything. I just noticed she tagged us, so I reached out to her and asked if she would mind if I used the content and featured her, and she said, no, be my guest. So there's an idea of quote-unquote free content for the most part that we just were able to repurpose and use, and she was more than happy to share that, and she had great photography, great, everything about the treatment. So that was a really easy one, because I get people asking me sometimes, like, I don't even know what to blog about. So an opportunity like that. We also were just announced in August the winner of Best Laser Hair Removal, Best Medspa, and Best Microblading. And so I wrote a blog about that and featured each section. Why are we the best at laser hair removal? Why are we the best at, So that's another idea. If you just have a few treatments, even for SEO, that you want to feature, like we talked about Botox getting better, that's a great idea to write your blogs on, things that you just want to highlight.
And the last thing, it's always great when you have experts to highlight those experts. And we're lucky we're the longest term med spa in Kansas City. And we have some staff here who've been here forever, and they've gained some national recognition. Judy for years did a lot of training and stuff on neurotoxins and fillers. Noreen is a trainer for Allergan, Galderma, and Revamped. And then we've done, obviously we have a training center, but one of our nurses, Jessica, was chosen from a company, Indiva, which we love their tissue tightening device, to be on a panel and on a webinar because she's so good at what she does, which is great, but then Karen can take that and market it.
Yeah, that's a perfect brag opportunity to brag on our people. And clients might not tune into that because it's, not necessarily based. I think it was geared towards B2B.
And it was a national thing,
But it was a national thing, and it's just a great highlight. We have Indiva. We've got somebody that's clearly like one of the best at doing Indiva. So taking opportunities like that to brag on social is always a good
And one other thing I'd like to talk about, I'm going to have Rick talk about this. I had a consulting call yesterday, and it really dawned on me. I get a lot of clinics who, when I'm talking to them, kind of give them some guidance, they'll say to the manager, well, how do you get your staff to do that? My staff won't do that. And I always have a hard time wrapping my head around that. It's like, wait a second, you're the boss, and you're telling me that you want your staff to do something, and they just don't do it? I just can't wrap my head around it. So Rick does a great job of managing our staff, but when you're working with 40 different personalities, and they're female and some of them very strong-willed, how do you handle, I don't know if you get it much, where you want something done and somebody doesn't do it, or does that even happen to you?
Well, that just really comes down to respect and leading by example. I mean, if you're willing to do anything that needs to be done as the owner or the manager, if they see you doing it, it's really hard and difficult for anybody, if you have hired quality people, to say, well, that's not my job. If you see your boss doing it, I'm pretty sure it's your job too. So I would say that's the biggest thing for me. I will jump in and do anything at any moment. I've always been that way as a manager, and I think that's probably what gets me the most respect. And I don't play games. I don't squabble about little things. They can come and vent to me.
For listening to the Making a Multi-Million-Dollar Med Spa podcast. We are honored to have the opportunity to support your practice. If you like this podcast, we would love it if you left a review. Ratings and reviews allow more practices and industry professionals to find us. If this episode has inspired you, share it with a friend. Together, we can empower our community through continuous learning. We truly value your support of the podcast.
You know, sometimes it's venting, sometimes it's bringing something to my attention that I need to involve myself in. And that was probably one of the hardest things when I was younger, is knowing, when am I just a sounding board and when are they asking for help? And is helping going to make the situation worse? Sometimes it's just giving somebody advice on how they might handle it to diffuse it. And I do that more than not. If I need to step in, I'm not afraid to. But now you've made it real. You brought it into the spotlight. And so, depending upon the personalities you're dealing with, that can make a situation worse. But as far as like somebody saying or not doing something, I can't make somebody love something that they don't. That's probably the biggest thing. Or it hasn't been proven to me, so I would rather do this than this. You know, that's hard to argue with because they're just not sold on maybe a procedure or a product or something. But as far as like tasks and non-procedural duties, I just say I need someone to do this, and they know if nobody volunteers, I'm going to pick someone. So if you're sitting in the break room not doing anything, and I need something done, it's just like, I just made a committee, and you're the president of this committee. So if you don't have anyone on your committee, I guess it's you.
Yeah.
You know, I just kind of joke about it or something, but I usually say, come on, this has got to be done, and no one likes it. Let's go do this.
Yeah.
And we do it together, and that just makes it easy.
But I do think one thing, the easiest time to set this expectation is right when you hire them. Right in the hiring process, before they take the job, I tell them, listen, if you feel you need a specific job description and you will not vary, and there's jobs that are below you, do not take this job. Because your job description is very easy here. Do what needs to be done. And the other part of that question is because we really believe in having events, even small events, client parties, evenings and stuff. And people say, oh, well, nobody's going to stay late. You know, if they understand, hey, this is part of your job. This is not, I'm not asking you, would you like to? What I'm saying is we're doing this, and because of that, you're going to be a part of this. You know, our staff is big enough that when we have these events, they may only stay late 3 or 4 times a year.
Right.
That's not a lot to ask, right?
No.
Especially when you pay well. You know, we're paying them very well. The expectation is they are going to go above and beyond.
Yeah.
So I would say what Rick says, you know, lead by example, but your staff needs to understand that there is a boss, whether it's the owner or the manager, and that boss has a job to do to make sure your clinic runs as well as it can be. And you should never have a situation where somebody doesn't do something that they know is not a suggestion. This is something you have to do. And the example I'll give you, I have a lot of clients who they have a good employee, but that employee causes a lot of trouble and really is kind of a little bit of a cancer. I mean, maybe they're a good revenue generator. You guys don't fire somebody just because, oh my God, then I have to hire somebody else and I'm going to take a step backwards. Sometimes you have to. A number of years ago, we had to let go an esthetician who generated amazing revenue. I mean, $60,000, $70,000 a month. She was great sales. She just busted her tail, hard worker, but she didn't play well with others. And I kind of made a mistake because I let it go on too long because she was so good at what she did, but it got to the point where she was becoming a cancer. And we let her go, and yes, it hurt us financially for a while. It took us a while to rebound from that because she had a huge following. But I have learned you always make decisions about your business solely based on one thing. What is truly best for the entire group, not what is best for one person. So,
and it is difficult. It is difficult, especially if you genuinely like someone as a person, and most med spas aren't nearly as large as ours, and you do get close to people, and you like them, or they wouldn't probably be working there. And it's hard, but you just have to say, you know what? You just put your boss hat on and say, you know what? This is the manager speaking. This is not personal. This is what I have to do. Mm-hmm. And it's hard.
It's miserable.
It is.
Firing people is miserable.
Horrible.
But it is part of what we do because at the end of the day, We want to have a team of people that are focused on giving amazing care, treating their peers incredibly well so that you have a work environment that everyone feels blessed to be a part of, and you can't let a bad apple spoil that. So,
and the best time to catch that is in the first 90 days. We have a 90-day kind of a probationary period, and there have been only a couple, but there have been a couple of people that just, I could already see the writing on the wall with personality conflicts, and they just weren't, either they were too qualified, which, to get great quality people at the front desk doesn't pay that well. And a lot of the people that are at our front desk have been in jobs or careers that they made a lot more money, but they don't want to just sit at home. So oftentimes when they've made more money and been more successful, if you put success on the amount of money you make, they were used to probably kind of being in charge and managing people. And sometimes you get someone in there that's just a little bit too bossy.
We had that recently.
We did. And so, I just set them down and I go, you know what, you are a fabulous person, but just not at this. This isn't what you're cut out to do. And, I hug them. I tell them that they're incredible. Do not take it personal. It takes a very special person to fit perfectly in that role and fit in with all the other personalities. So I usually tell them what I feel that they're awesome at, their strengths, and that will be really valued somewhere else. It's just not what I need here.
So at the end of the day, you just got to have everything focused on having an amazing work environment because it really reflects onto your clients, your patients. So, all right, so that is August. We'll be back next month with September, hopefully with good news. Just to let you know, our goal is, years ago, we thought this party got huge when we hit 400,000. And then we went to 7, then we went to 8, and then we went to 1 million, 1.2. Last year we did 1.6 million at just this location. In the first year in Liberty, I think we did almost 400,000. So now we're going to try to beat that. Every year I said, I don't know if we can beat it. I mean, that's going to be so hard. But we're going to try. Karen is driven. So hopefully we'll have some fun news when we do a recap in September. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next month.
Thanks for listening to today's episode. We would love it if you left a review to help other providers and clinics find us. Also, if you want more information about anything we discussed in this episode, check out our show notes. Until next time, this has been the Making a Multi-Million-Dollar Medspa podcast.